You're scrolling through a sea of office chairs, and every ad is promising the perfect fit while you're just trying to avoid wasting a few $100s on something that ends up feeling like a cheap seat after a couple of weeks. I get that hesitation, especially when you spend a good chunk of your budget on a chair you'll be sitting in for 8, 10, maybe even 12 hours a day. You want proof that the chair you click add to cart on actually lives up to the hype, not just a glossy picture on a website. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, the Steelcase gesture isn't trying to be a one-size-fits-all solution. It's built around the idea that you move a lot while you work, switching between typing, sketching, video calls, and those moments when you just need to lean back and think. The seat and back move together in a synchronized way, so when you recline, the lumbar support follows, keeping the curve of your spine aligned. That's not a theoretical claim, it's a design response to the way modern workstations have evolved, where you might have a standing desk, a laptop, a phone, and maybe even a tablet all within arm's reach. If you're the type who spends most of your day at a single desk, typing away with a predictable posture, you might not need the full range of adjustments the gesture offers. In that case, a simpler ergonomic chair could give you the same comfort for less money. But if you find yourself constantly shifting, leaning forward to zoom into a spreadsheet, then leaning back to brainstorm on a whiteboard, then pulling the chair in close for a video chat, the gesture's adaptable armrests and seat depth adjustments become more than a nice-to-have. They let you fine-tune the distance between your hips and the backrest, and the arms can move in multiple axes, which is a genuine time saver when you're constantly repositioning. One of the first things I noticed when I set it up, it ships ready to assemble, so there's a bit of a build process, was the weight of the frame. The polished aluminum base feels solid, not flimsy, and the casters are specifically designed for hard flooring. That matters because the last thing you want is a chair that constantly squeaks or rolls unevenly on a hardwood office. The casters glide smoothly, and the floor stays untouched by scuffs, which is a relief if you have a nice finish you don't want to ruin. Now, let's talk about the fabric. The Connect Peacock fabric is a 100% polyester weave that's marketed as both breathable and durable. In practice, after a week of daily use, the material holds up well to the usual wear. Nothing looks frayed or pilled after I've moved the chair around, leaned against it, and even dragged a few boxes across it while setting up a home office. It doesn't get sticky like some mesh chairs when you sit for hours, and it's not as glossy as a leather finish that can show fingerprints instantly. If you have kids or a pet that might jump onto the chair occasionally, the polyester holds up better than a softer material would. One practical weakness that shows up once the chair is in a real environment is the height of the base. The polished aluminum looks sleek, but it also adds a few extra centimeters to the overall seat height compared to a more compact plastic base. If your desk is on the lower side, you might need to adjust the seat height more than you'd expect, and the footrest can feel a bit distant when you're standing up. That's a minor trade-off, but something to keep in mind if your workstation isn't adjustable. Another nuance is the armrest mechanism. The gesture's arms can move up, down, sideways, and even swivel. That's fantastic for someone who wants to position a mouse, a notepad, or a phone exactly where they need it, but it does add a layer of complexity. The adjustment levers are intuitive once you get the hang of them, yet there's a learning curve. If you're not comfortable spending a few minutes each day fine-tuning the arms, you might end up leaving them in a default position that doesn't fully benefit you. The chair is built to endure 24/7 use, and the warranty backs that up with 12 years from Steelcase. That's a big confidence boost, especially if you're buying a piece of furniture that you expect to last for the duration of a career. It means the manufacturer expects the mechanisms and the frame to hold up under constant weight shifts, which is a realistic expectation for a high-end office chair. For a freelancer who's setting up a home office, that kind of longevity can be a real cost save. Replacing a lower-priced chair every few years adds up quickly. Who should buy this? If you're a remote worker, a designer, a coder, or anyone whose day involves a lot of posture changes, the gesture gives you the flexibility to adapt without buying a second.